Hello again, Star Wars and Unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba. Today I have another special kind of oddity that I want to share with you today. And I gotta say that at the end of the day, is this a major Star Wars collectible? No, it's not. In fact, there are many cynics that believe that a lot of times when it comes to Star Wars merchandising, there is this less than desirable method that many manufacturers and retailers and just anyone who wants to sell a product do or does or whatever, and that is to take an item, any everyday or maybe not so everyday household item, regular item that by itself doesn't really have anything to do with Star Wars, and slap a label on it that says Star Wars, and all of a sudden that becomes an incredible thing. Well, most of the time I try to avoid things like that. Okay, I do. Why? Because, I try to reserve my collection for, items that are a little bit more unique to the Star Wars universe. However, I saw this, and it's not new. It came out about maybe a year ago, and it has since gone down a little bit in price, and I thought, you know what? I think I want to do this. I think I want to pull a trigger on this. So I went out and bought essentially what is a turntable, meaning a record player. A Star Wars themed record player. So here it is, the Star Wars Croslex turntable. Okay, and I have to say, just give me a second here to get this out of the way. Just want to make sure I don't have anything on the packing slip. I have to say that it was one of those things. I had a turntable, but it started to act a little weird. Had trouble working. It didn't seem to be doing something right. So I saw a lot of this. It's become a little more popular these days. Actually, find these things in places, odd places like Cracker Barrel of all places. Places that have a lot of niche items. Maybe things that kind of are meant to, give you a sense of nostalgia. Places like that. And turntables are coming back. People are listening more to vinyl and that kind of thing. And we have tons of vinyl that we never listened to because we really didn't have a working record player. So I got this. I said, you know what? I kind of like this. I like the art. It's not new art. It's reproduced art from some of the original movie posters. Okay, and I even though I might listen to things other than Star Wars albums on it, I just think it's a kind of a cool thing. It has its own little built-in speakers, and it actually has a Bluetooth-enabled segment, so it has some high-techness to it. So let's take a look at this, and maybe if I can get it to work relatively quickly, we will consider playing an album. All right. So I like the suitcase idea. Okay, and again, this is not anything new. This has been around. In fact, I think if I'm not mistaken, I had a turntable like this when I was like 10, maybe younger. But I just liked the setup of it. I just liked the art of it. So I do have to say, though, I'm not a big supporter of vinyl over all other forms of media. I know that there are many that probably are going to even listen to this or watch this channel that are going to be shouting like, "Wow, how could you say that? How could you say that? It's amazing." And I'm sure it is. I have you know what? I even have a coworker of mine, or a former coworker of mine, who was, and very much into vinyl. But without the proper care and maintenance of the unit, vinyl becomes essentially not worth staying with it. And I'm a lazy person, I must say. Okay, and when it comes to that, so, but this just really floored me. I just thought, it's a nice piece. By itself, look at this. It's real simple. Okay, you can see it's got the art, the Luke and Leia, the droids on the side. And I always loved on this art. You can see here. I always loved all these X-wings coming up. In fact, it brings me back. Such an odd thing. It brings me back to I think it was my 7th grade Spanish class, and I had a teacher who happened to have a lot of different movie posters in her room. I think it was a Spanish class. And yeah, there were English and Spanish posters, but there were other ones too. But they utilized this same art, all the squadron of X-Wings kind of flying for it. And I used to laugh because I'm thinking, when I saw the original, maybe not the special edition, mind you, but the original, I only remember there being like maybe 5 to 10 ships Okay, you know, so my mind wasn't processing that very well. But nonetheless, it is really cool, a really neat thing. So let's just kind of take it. Whoops! I keep bumping into my cookie jar. One of these days, this thing's gonna fall right out. So if we open it up, and there you go. It's essentially your standard, okay, easy to operate. Not a lot of buttons, not a lot of bells and whistles. Okay, it's plain. I was kind of hoping I would find one that actually also could plug into, say, having like an input jack. This one has an input jack, but it's just the RCA. But that actually might be better because, oh wait, no, it does have a headphone jack there, so that's cool. All right, so there's a lot of options there. Oh, I was, like sometimes they have a USB port too. This doesn't seem to have that. It has the RCA and it has the aux in. Okay, but just and again, I'm sure they make these for a lot of different themes, and they just kind of change the printing on it. Okay, but I'm going to very quickly. I'm going to just very quickly do this. Okay. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to take this next part of the video, put it on high speed, just till I get things worked out, and maybe, just maybe, I will put on an album for to listen to for a few moments. All right, so we're going to go to high speed right now. Okay, well, actually, that didn't take very long at all. It's a pretty straightforward setup. The only thing you have to worry about is a little protector for the needle. For those who don't know, the one big thing about records is needles. You will even hear on a brand new record, if the needle is even the slightest bit of dust, you will hear crackles and chirps and pops. That is kind of a normal thing. All right, there are those that have high tech items, things that you would only hear like in radio stations and stuff that don't do that, or that they're really good at avoiding that, or they switch out needles frequently. But for these portable jobs, it's just kind of a throwback to what it was like to listen to records. Okay, and kids, before they had Spotify and iTunes Music, iTunes Play, or whatever it is, or even digital downloads, or even CD players, or even tapes, you had records. And when you played records, you would play records, put them on, play them through, turn them over halfway done, play them again, and then you'd switch on to other records. You wouldn't jump around from song to song, from artist to artist. You usually do the whole thing. So, if I had a record, well, I do have, as I said, I have many records. I don't have as many Star Wars records though, but I decided just for fun that I would grab one that I've never played before, and I thought I would share that with you now. This is not any ordinary record though. This is, as you can see, a picture disc. Now, I'm sure that many of you have gone around and seen in conventions or in stores, like especially Disney's getting really on board with the picture discs. It's an actual record, but it has a photo on it. Great, that's awesome, love it, so cool, right? This is not anything new. This came out in 1983. Okay, this is from the Return of the Jedi. It is the story of Return of the Jedi, and as I might have mentioned in earlier episodes, what essentially happened in the 1970s and early 80s was when a movie came out, it could take upwards to 5 even longer years, maybe almost 10 years in some cases, for movies to be placed on video cassette. So the only way you have basically 2 ways to reenact, well, I should say more than 2, but the most common 2 in my brain that worked for me was either to go to see the movie in the movie theater over and over again, or get the story on record or tape and then play it, and you can listen to, there was music from it, there was a little narrator giving the dialogue, and there was voices and sound effects from the movie. Now they also had like books on, little like read-along books, where it would say something like, it would be time to turn the page when you hear R2-D2 beep like this, and it beep, 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 and then you would turn the page, and it would you would read along while it did. That's different. They re-recorded that completely. The only thing that was from the movie was the music. This was actually dialogue and sound effects and everything from the movie. So why don't we give this a shot, okay? This is a brand new record. I actually just had to unwrap it a moment ago, okay? And it has, as you can see, it has Wicked on the front, and it has Luke Skywalker on the back. Okay, so this is side one. So place it here. Hopefully we don't get any more dust. Let's turn it on. Okay, remember there's 2 speakers coming here, so you should hear it. Gotta release the thing. Okay, it's hard to do this from behind.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
A record player! Yes!
Rebel commanders were planning their next move against the evil Galactic Empire. For the first time, all warships in the Rebel fleet were being brought together to form a single great armada.
Great armada.
Little did they know, however, that the rebellion was doomed. For the Emperor had ordered the construction of a new armored space station, more powerful than the first Death Star.
When will they ever learn?
Amid the frantic construction operations, an Imperial shuttle arrived at the massive docking bay aboard the half-completed battle station.
What happens next?
Death Star Commander Moff Jerjerrod and his troops snapped to attention as a black masked figure strode menacingly down the shuttle ramp.
Lord Vader, this is an unexpected pleasure. We're honored by your presence.
You may dispense with the pleasantries, Commander.
There it is.
I'm here to put you back on
Story
schedule.
of Return of the
I assure
Jedi.
you, Lord Vader, my men are working as fast as they can.
So,
Perhaps I can find new ways to move.
you have to make sure that this is on a level.
The station will be operational as planned.
You have to make sure it's on a level space, no vibration, okay? These are things that will affect it. You also have to make sure your record isn't warped in any way.
Then perhaps you can tell
You're getting dizzy watching Wicked.
The Emperor's coming here.
Going around.
That is correct, Commander.
Still, it's kind of cool playing a record again. I mean, it's been so long.
And lack of progress.
This is fun.
We shall double our efforts.
I hope so. Commander.
My favorite line.
For your sake. The Emperor is not as forgiving as I am.
Alright, so cool. So that is my turntable. I am so excited to have this, okay? Some other features that, let me just get the record carefully placed off. Some other features that you want to be aware of. These portable record players generally are Bluetooth enabled, okay? So you can actually basically turn the Bluetooth section on, and if you have a Bluetooth speaker, Bluetooth device, it will look for it and broadcast it there. Okay, now I'm imagining that since this is still a needle connecting to the vinyl record, that you're probably going to still have a little bit of, you know, the quality of sound is not going to be all that great. But you know that it's, you know, the idea of this is more of a nostalgic thing. So I also recommend that you definitely take this and, you know, the little protector, and you just make sure that you constantly keep it protected, because let's face it, if you don't, you run the risk of there being, actually I gotta do this from the front. You run the risk of there, you know, getting dust on it earlier. There are, it said, I thought when I made the purchase that it said that it came with an extra needle, but I have not seen that anywhere. Oftentimes they put the needle in a little container. They have a little extra needle here. There, it also does come with a, hold on. Okay, this comes with what's called a little 45 player. You place it here, and then you can put 45 records here. Okay, for those who don't know what 45s are, they're essentially the little tiny records. They're about this big. The ones they used to put in the jukeboxes a lot. Okay, but that's in and of itself pretty cool. On the back here, there's an RCA, which is the white and red left and right, connectors, and you can get usually that with an adapter that can go into a big stereo unit, or you can use an auxiliary input, okay, or you can use the headphone jack, which is up here, and just put headphones on and listen to it that way. You know, very old tech. I won't lie to you, it's old tech, okay? But if you have records and you want to have that nostalgic opportunity to play them, this is a great way to do this. Now, I know there are places, like there are many, you can find them a lot, and a lot of places sell them during the holidays. They sell turntables that are also USB converters. They're essentially a record player with a USB connector that plugs into a computer, and then it usually comes with basic software that you can download and then, or put up onto your computer and then record off the computer. Keep in mind that that kind of technology, it goes and it comes and goes. There's a lot of companies that do it. I bought one of those. I paid like $100 and something for it. It was great for a while, and then I tried using it again, and it didn't work. Okay, it just wouldn't work. The programming wasn't good. The software wasn't good. Even the new software that they would update didn't always work with the old units. I don't think they're designed to last very long. Okay, so this is definitely more of meant primarily to be a listening device, but it does have the RCA jack. It does have an auxiliary input. It does have a phone jack. You can work your magic that way and plug it in using a phone jack on your computer to and getting some type of a sound recording software, freeware like Audacity. You can record and capture old records onto digital files, and that's great. You can do that if you want. It might be an extra step or two though if you want to do that with one of these. And look around. Some of these, the Star Wars one didn't have that, but there are other franchises that have record players, other types of these record players that did include a USB connector. So there are some that can find around. So if you're really just looking for something to convert, look for that. Make that your main focus. But if you're looking for Star Wars, this is what you want. It's called Croslex. Okay, CrosleY. They're still available. You can get them online. You can get them on eBay. Brand new and in beautiful, just awesome kind of nostalgia for the older fan. And for the younger fan, if you want to know what it was like when we were kids, how we had to listen to any kind of media, any kind of audio media, this is the way to do it, okay? Because these were less expensive. These were things, yes, you can get major stereo units. I'm sure you might, if anybody's ever been to an antique store, you can see like whole credenza-sized pieces of furniture that were essentially turntables that had the speakers built in. Those are great. A lot of people had them. Some of them even had a bar in the middle, so it was like part of like your entertainment center. Those were fantastic look back in history as to how people entertained. But as children, if a child wanted to listen to music and they wanted to listen to a record, they generally, if the parents didn't want it in their house or in the main room, in the main living room, they had to go in their bedroom and they have a little tiny suitcase turntable like this. They open it up and they can play it. Sometimes they had really small ones. Sometimes they as you can see when you look at this, it's essentially a very simple component. It's the record player, it's the turntable needle, and an on and off switch. The rest of this is just stability. So you can even get smaller ones. But I think this is a nice size. It's not too big, it's not too small. I think it's awesome. So anyway, that will do it for this episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show. Check out all my videos on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button. Let people know about my channel. Check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Darth Tuba. Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing page on Facebook. And leave me an email, darthtuba77@gmail.com if you have any questions, or leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, may the Force be with you.